great news. I'm neglecting my responsibilities for art. This really is good news, okay? I restarted my book and it just unlocked everything. All of my creativity is coming back. All of the key issues in the book I feel like are now resolving in my head, which just created an avalanche of everything working. And now all I want to do is write, which is a problem. I have other things to do. Welcome back to, I think we're in week 8 of Let's Make a Book Baby, a project where I am taking you along with me all the way from when I'm starting to write this book until I end up publishing it. If you didn't hear last week, yes, I restarted the book, but that might sound a little bit more daunting than it is because I feel like the first run through of the book, I had gotten to about like 55,000 words. It just wasn't going where I had wanted it to. So to catch you up to speed, this is a werewolf book. It is Omegaverse, so the two main characters are both Omega werewolves. Ari is a trans guy. Marcus is a cis guy, but he also is gender fluid in terms of his werewolf gender. I know. I find it really fun. Through this first trial run, we figured out that I wanted it to be a dual perspective because Marcus's side of this story just boosted it mega time into being like much more engaging. On top of that, I started figuring out these characters' personalities so far in the first 2 months of writing this. I will say something that's been really shocking for me is how slow this process has been for me because I'm an insanely fast writer. That's not always a good thing, but like I feel like in this industry, in the indie publishing side of things, it is a good thing and it's almost necessary. But I think I started getting myself into these pressures of like, okay, I need to just hurry and finish the book. I know you guys are waiting and like all this stuff, and it's like honestly not that big of a deal if I just take like an extra month or 2 to write it. So like whatever. That's how I feel now. Regardless of all that, there were some key issues in the book that I think I started to pick apart the past few weeks. If you've been following along, you might be able to notice me slowly putting this together. But when I told you that I was going to restart the book, it just unlocked for me what exactly all these key issues were. One of them was we know Ari's parents from previous books. And so what do I do about that? Do I involve them deeply in the book? Do I just ignore them entirely and have them just be like an Easter egg if you know the characters? And honestly, I landed on that it felt really freaking weird if Ari did not talk to them enough because I feel like his parents had evolved now that they've had Ari, their son, and this is now our main character. I feel like it would be weird if they weren't in his life. Like, I think it would be nice between all of the parent drama I showed in the previous series if Ari's book had more of an example of like more of a positive relationship with his parents. And so now that I started rewriting it and adding that in, I feel like things are going so much better because all the people in both Ari and Marcus's life can be like, what the hell are you doing? And so I think that that's going to speed it up because the other key issue was that things were taking too long. And I kept feeling like, okay, I have all these pieces, but my B plot isn't coming up soon enough. And we weren't getting to the part that I keep not telling you about because it's not even in the book yet. So like there wasn't a reason to tell you, but let me tell you, because the B plot has shown up. It all clicked into place finally because of the romance A plot clicking into place. With this A plot, I sped everything up to the point where I think it's actually hilarious because the two main characters, you can just tell right away that they're just obviously in love. They're in denial about that for whatever reason. So we see all of this, like, whatever reason unfolding in the first few chapters, and instead of frustrating the hell out of everyone throughout the entire book, I thought, like, wouldn't it be funny if we just see them being really awkward and trying to, like, they accept that towards the beginning of the book, but then they don't know how to communicate after waiting for so long to be together. Like, there's so much build up that it's like they're awkward and anxious about it. Like, I think that is so funny and so perfect for these two, and it flips the expectations for the book on its head in a way that I think matches the style of my writing. Very excited about that. And because of that, everything else started falling into place. So Aaliyah and Noah have now just tried to help Ari sort his brain out because he's been keeping secrets. And I think that works so well because he's such a combination of the two of them. So when they're both talking to him, they're like, oh my god, I'm sorry, we messed up. And he's like, no, this is my misunderstanding. I love it so much. And then on Marcus's side, because we're still following Marcus, he is in such a distraught place, and you realize that he has just been waiting for Ari to understand, and also like still in denial himself, so he's just very confused. But when his friend Tatiana gives him a kick in the right direction, and Tatiana is part of his Omega group chat, okay, if you didn't hear about that, these werewolves can telepathically communicate through mind link. So it is a mind link group chat of all these women who are also Omega werewolves just trying to sort him out. He, when he's in trouble, is going to keep deferring to them of being like, what do I do? type of thing, until he's just getting more and more comfortable with doing that with Ari throughout the book, because I'm going to throw like 10 wrenches into their plans. This is where we might get into spoiler territory, but I'll tell you the B plot. I have been having this issue that I never mentioned to you, which is if My Shy Alpha is back in more of our era. I'm pointing to the series because it's literally like right here. But by the way, you don't have to read beforehand, but you can. It is called My Shy Alpha for the book 1, and then there's also books 2 and 3, and that's the complete series. I even have signed copies in my shop if you want to grab them there, because I always love being able to thank you directly, put a little sticker in your mail and stuff. But if that was in our era, and Ari, I decided, like, remember how I kept being like, oh, is he 25 or 30? Why isn't he like 27? So he's 27. If Ari's 27, that means this is like approximately 2050, like the year 2050. I don't know. Having a futuristic werewolf book feels really weird to me, but that made me think. I had this other idea where I was like, I just want them, like, I want there to be some type of outward drama that they have to fix, because that's something that I do in all my books. There's the A plot of the relationship, and then the B plot, which is a combination of their inner personal struggles with the outer world struggle. So like sometimes my B plot is really packed in where they're like solving a global or like major issue, because that's why they're main characters. They have this main character energy. I kept thinking about like, okay, I do like that in the past there was still this like alpha domination thing, and I feel like there's always a surge, like when you start to fight back against any type of authoritarianism, it usually pushes back harder before it fully fizzles out. And we're seeing that right now in real life, so I think it would be timely and something that doesn't go away like stopping a problem. But I don't want it to feel like we're just repeating the same plot as the first series. So my idea was like, when I was thinking about the technology piece, I was like, hang on, I did for one brief moment think about involving humans in this. Like eventually humans are going to have to figure out that they exist. The werewolves in these books are technically called lichens, and they're sworn into secrecy with each other because of the hunting problem and because they know how humans work, and when they get curious, sometimes that means things get dangerous. Well, I think I need to burst that bubble with this series. It sounds like it's going to be really dark, but it's actually pretty funny because humans would absolutely capture lichens, right? They would experiment on them, all these things. And if you know me, I love a good conspiracy theory story. So this whole book, Soul Survivors, there's like a bunch of government conspiracy stuff that the two main characters just happen to get involved in, and like they were born in the wrong place at the wrong time basically, but now they're the type of people who are going to solve it, like do something about it. And I feel like that's going to be the case for Ari and Marcus, but it ties in all the things that I love, because I was realizing in the first rendition that Marcus has like an underlying side of him that might feel more dominant, that I was like, where's this coming from? Because he's supposed to be like really, really chill. Well, in the end of the third book, when he was a baby, there was a lot of werewolf drama and fighting, and so I'm sure he could have some like generational and or like lived experience trauma about that, where he has a fear of physical conflict, and he's gonna have to face that by the end of the book. And the way I want to do that is that if all these humans are starting to capture these werewolves, when Marcus and Ari go to investigate it, that was my plan all along, because it's like a joke where it's forcing them to have the only one bed trope, except they want to be there but they're just awkward about it, and then like their heats take over, you know, all the good stuff. I think it's so funny when they're trying to investigate where some of these disappearances have been. They realize like, oh shit, this is not a werewolf thing only, it's that these alphas who are so butthurt from like 25 years ago have now conspired with humans to capture the weaker werewolves, which include Omega. So Ari, he is an absolute badass. He's a perfect combination of his parents in terms of super strong, but he's like underestimated about it because he's just a little guy. And he's also just quiet and stoic like his dad. So he's like, let's get kidnapped on purpose. And Marcus is like, whoa, that's something I would never do. But because Ari's already going to do that, he's like, well, shit, I have to go with him, because he knows by now that he's like unavoidably magnetized to Ari and just would hate for something to happen to him. Like, he has to go. And so he gets him to be dragged along with him. They have to try to work this system and get out of it. And I have a lot of wild ideas of how there's going to be a bunch of wrenches thrown into this. Just to end the video with this, because I know this is one of those things where I'm like recapping things, but I'm hoping it's showing you the process of how like the past 8 weeks, even if I restarted, it's all coming together to make the story still. With this big spoiler, here is where you have to skip to if you want to skip it. If you read the My Shy Alpha series, this spoiler has to do with the end, the epilogue of book 3, because I wanted to tease the fact that I wanted to do Ari's spin-off story sometime in the future. Now that it's the right time, I have to honor what that epilogue said, which was when Ari was a little baby, 3 or 4, in this scene in the book, and he's like, I really want to be a dad, but I want to carry the baby. So if you don't know, Ari is a trans guy. Well, and he's also an Omega, and in Omegaverse, men can have babies. But you know what? I wanted to combine these things because a lot of trans people can really identify with werewolf stories, and I just think it would be fun to combine that. It's something that makes me really nervous because I have never made a trans character pregnant in any of my stories, but this is the genre to do that, and I think that that has to happen. So that's the wrench I'm gonna throw in. So good luck to Ari and Marcus. You better be prepared for how wild I'm gonna make this story. Oh, well, with that, I hope that you enjoyed this recap and update on what I'm working on right now. I really feel like everything's falling into place. Like, I'm still kind of getting myself stuck or overthinking, but I can feel that kind of fading away. It's just like brief moments where I'm writing where I'm like, okay, wait. And then like if I back up a few sentences, it's just because I said something that took me in like slightly different direction than I wanted, which is very normal. Like when you're writing, if you just back up a paragraph sometimes, then that helps the rest of it flow, because it's just like one little thing that wasn't going where you wanted it to. And then other times it does that on its own and you can't help it. But anyway, I hope that you are having a great start to your 2026. I'm very excited to see where this goes this year. I have a good feeling about publishing it this year, but I have 2 books right now that I wanted to publish this year, and I'm kind of torn between them. So I know I did mention a disclaimer about this in week 1, where there might be a point where I have to finish writing another book. That might come up soon, but I don't know yet. So we'll see what happens. In the meantime, I hope to see you again next Tuesday. Things happened. Like I said, I was neglecting my responsibilities. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will say goodbye from over here this time. Bye for now.